Ahoy Super Squad, welcome to another tier list video, this time ranking all of the great partners that you can find in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. By the time this video is posted, there should already be one up on the channel where you can see how I ranked all of the partners from the original Paper Mario. I'm just using tiermaker.com to make this list. I've gone ahead and linked it in the description, so please, after you're done watching the video, go make your own partners tier list from Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door using Tiermaker and post a link to your final results in the comments. There are no real rules for this tier list, I'm just simply ranking everybody by who I like best. Let's start ranking these guys. Goombella is up first, and she's gonna go into the Lovable Allies tier, which is what I've renamed the B tier. As I was preparing to do this tier list, I realized that a lot of my notes had me comparing certain partners from Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door to the original Paper Mario, and that's because a lot of them share similarities with their character design and functionality in battle, and here Goombella is no exception. To me, she's kind of an evolved version of Goombario, but I think she is significantly better. I love how Goombella has real motivations for joining Mario on his quest. She wants to find the ancient treasure too, as a student who studies archaeology at the University of Goom. Go Goombas, by the way. And I just really like how that's reflected in her visual design. I think her helmet with the light is a really nice touch. It makes her very, very unique compared to all of the other Goombas found in Paper Mario. She looks the part, it fits her character well, and I think it's a significant improvement from what Goombario was in the original Paper Mario. In battle, I'm not as big of a fan of Goombella overall. She's good, don't get me wrong, but her abilities just get replaced by badges. Multi-bonk and power bounce are essentially the same thing, and same goes for Tattle and the Peekaboo badge. Where I will give her credit is her third ability. Rally Wink is fantastic. I love using that move. It allows Mario to take 2 turns at the expense of Goombella's turn, and that's just a really cool strategic maneuver that you can break out in any battle where you really need a specific ability that only Mario can do. Her dialogue is charming, it's funny. I actually find myself using her ability on the overworld to explain things more than I thought I ever would when I first played through the Thousand-Year Door, so that's definitely a plus. It's definitely engaging. So I think the rating of Lovable Allies in the B tier is very, very appropriate, and that's where she's going to live on this tier list. Koops is the second partner to rank, and he's going to actually keep Goombella company because I am also going to place him in the B tier. You know, for my first few playthroughs, Koops was someone that I really, really liked. I don't know what it is, but I don't have that same level of fondness for him that I did when I originally played through the Thousand-Year Door. I really like his little story arc that happens in Chapter 1. I think it's cool how he is kind of, cowardly and then decides, I'm gonna go ahead, go on this big adventure, join Mario, beat this giant dragon, and avenge my father. I think that's a really cool little mini character arc he has, but outside of that, he just kinda is there. He's just part of the team. His visual design is okay. I don't really love it. I don't really hate it. I will say though that I do dig his sweater. It looks really, really cozy. Kind of just want to take it and wrap myself up in it. Hope it's really, really soft. Maybe wear it on a nice winter's day up here. But yeah, I just think it's all right. I don't think it's anything special. I do like how they added the ability to hold his shell in place when you kick it on the overworld. Kooper from the original Paper Mario didn't have that, and I think it's really great utility because it allowed the designers to come up with some pretty neat puzzles, though they were always kind of obvious when you needed to use Koops, and unfortunately, I don't feel like they really maximized the potential of that mechanic. One thing though that I really do like about Koops is that he is an absolute force in battle. You could probably argue him, Vivian, maybe Bobbery, not entirely sure who I would choose is the absolute best when it comes to combat, but he is really, really good. I love all of his moves. I use him in battle quite frequently. It's really cool how they gave him defense like normal Koopa Troopas get, so that's really, really helpful. And even though it's not a positive thing that happens, I actually really like the design choice where he can be flipped on his shell and he'll lose his turn. It sucks when it happens, but I think it's really cool that they keep that consistent between both your partner and enemy Koopa Troopas. I still love Koops, don't get me wrong, but I do think that B tier is an appropriate spot for him. Flurrie is the next partner to rate, and unfortunately for her, I am not a fan of her performance, so she is going to go ahead and go into the D tier. I really appreciate what the developers were going for when they made Flurrie for this game. It's one of those things where she just doesn't fit, and because of that, it was either going to work really, really well, or it was going to crash and burn, and unfortunately for me, I think it's that crash and burn scenario. Let's get the obvious out of the way. You know it, I know it. Her visual design just doesn't fit. I have absolutely no problem with Nintendo blessing female characters with what can only be described as wonderful and gifted anatomy, but her visual design just doesn't fit with any other character, NPC or partner alike, in the entire game. It just doesn't match. I think the designers thought it could work out because Flurrie is supposed to be some sort of cloud lady, but unfortunately, she'll always be in the shadow of a certain other cloud party member from a previous Mario RPG game. I really dislike Flurrie in battle. Her abilities are just not really fun to use. I find them to be the weakest of any partner that you get in the entire game. So unless I really need to use her for specific situations, I will pretty much choose any other partner to fight with instead of her. She's also the one character that I really don't feel fits within the story that strongly. I think her backstory of being an actress is cool, and I like how that's reflected in her personality because she's so melodramatic all of the time, but why is she in Boggly Woods? Why did she choose to retire in that spot? How come we don't really learn anything about her past performances or anything like that? Definitely a missed opportunity, which I think would have increased my affection and fondness for her, but as it is now, I just kind of find her to be a bland personality. I don't love using her in battle. I'm not a huge fan of her visual design because I don't think it fits, like I've already mentioned. Unfortunately for the madame, she will be the only one taking up residence in the D tier. Yoshi is up next, and for me, I'm excited. He's my favorite partner in the entire game, more so than Vivian, which I know is the community's favorite. He is the first king that will be joining the S tier. I love everything about Yoshi in this game as a partner. I really, really do. He is great. Guys, I've been wanting a Yoshi partner in any of the Mario RPGs literally since Super Mario RPG came out on the Super Nintendo. Yoshi is my favorite reoccurring Mario character. I love him, and the way he was implemented in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is fantastic. The Glitz Pit is one of the best chapters already, and I really like how they introduced Yoshi going from an egg that you have to hatch into being the reason why you can win fight number 10. I thought that was always a really, really cool way of not only getting a new partner, but showing off his abilities right away. I love how you can get a bunch of different color Yoshis. My first one was pink with green hair, and I remember being completely shocked that that was an actual thing when my next one that I got was the traditional green variant. I love his visual design, and I really love his personality. The fact that he calls Mario the Great Gonzalez through the rest of the game is fantastic because he was literally born into the world when Mario was known as the Great Gonzalez. It's a great character-specific thing. I love using him in battle. I don't think he's nearly the best character in combat, but I like a lot of his moves and they're a lot of fun. I love his Stampede move because that's literally the Yoshi Stampede from the intro of Super Smash Bros. Melee. That was really cool to see represented here. His overworld abilities are also fantastic because for some reason, the Thousand-Year Door removed the spin attack, so you don't really have a way of moving quickly on the overworld unless you're riding Yoshi, and that's pretty much all I do once I get him. Crossing gaps with his flutter ability is also very fitting of the character, and it's much better than Paracarry in the original Paper Mario because it's just more fluid and faster, and it feels way more satisfying when it's used. Yoshi might be a little young for it, but he is my favorite partner in the game and deserves that S-tier crown. The good news is I have more than one crown to give out because Vivian will also be earning one. She is the queen of S-tier. I'm sure everyone expected this. I know she's the fan favorite in the community. She is one of my favorites too, and I definitely think she is a top tier partner in the 1,000-Year Door. What's really special about Vivian is that she has a character arc that starts before she's your partner, all the way in Chapter 2, and literally goes until the final confrontation. She is as much a part of this story as any of the other major characters in the entire journey. I really like how the game handles it when she jettisons herself from the rest of the Shadow Sirens. That's a really nice plot point and a really cool moment. And I really think the game does a wonderful job of capturing her personality for someone who would legitimately be in that situation. Vivian is very innocent compared to the rest of her sisters. She has that naive nature where she's not quite sure exactly what's going on when Beldam is commanding certain things, and she questions it. And that motivation to leave the Shadow Sirens just makes a lot of sense and is contextualized very, very well. I really like her visual design, especially the fact that you can't see her eyes. That sounds a little bit weird, but the fact that she is supposed to be someone who comes from the shadows, she's very ghostly, you're not supposed to be able to make eye contact with her. It's a really nice visual touch from the designers. In combat, Vivian is an absolute monster. Fiery Jinx is the best move in the game, hands down. It pierces defense, it hits all enemies, it leaves them with a burn for long-term damage. It is an absolutely busted move. I really like how her signature ability drags Mario into the shadows instead of just making him disappear because, making him disappear is just kinda standard for ghosts, but actually dragging him into the shadows is just so much more thematically on point. Being able to listen in to other characters' dialogue is a really cool application of that ability, and it's one that I've always really enjoyed. Overall, Vivian is a great partner. I'm not surprised that the community found themselves attached to her a lot. I know she's the most popular of anyone on this list, and she deserves a crown and will stay in S tier. Admiral Bobbery is the penultimate partner to rank, and he'll be getting the 3rd crown as the newest member of the S tier. First things first, Bobbery's visual design, in my opinion, is the best of any character in the entirety of the 1,000-Year Door. Now, that's off the top of my head, so I may be missing a couple, but I really, really love what the designers did for him. By just taking a quick glance at his visual design, you can learn so much about his character. He's a bomb who can explode, he's a little bit on the elderly side, and he has something to do with boats and the sea. The inclusion of the pirate's wheel on his back is a super special design touch because in-game, his role on boats and in the sea was that of a navigator, so kudos to the designers for finding a way to fit that in. I love the way the game introduces Bobbery, and I think his character arc is probably the most compelling of any of the partners that Mario gets. The subject matter of his backstory is actually kinda deep and surprisingly serious for Paper Mario. His wife literally gets so ill that she dies while he's at sea. And because he couldn't be with her in her last moments, it drives him into a deep depression where he completely secludes himself from everyday life, even from his best friends. He only recovers when Mario gives him a long-lost letter for his wife, and I think that's a really, really touching moment the way the game plays it up, because ultimately, Mario has to recruit him because he is the best navigator for a ship, and that's exactly what the party needs at that point in the game. It's one of my favorite moments in the game, and it's such a cool character arc to start Chapter 5. I also really like using Bobbery in battle. He has the most HP of any partner, so that's super, super helpful. And Bomb Squad is one of my favorite moves in the entire game, just because of how fun it is. I'm also really glad that they kept the secret first strike with him. If you use his explosion on the overworld and it connects with an enemy, you'll start off the battle with a super strong attack, and it won't require any FP. Admiral Bobbery is just a great character, love his visual design and story arc, fun to use in battle, definitely deserving of a crown in S tier. With the way I'm going, you're probably expecting me to put Miss Mowz in S tier, but I'm not the biggest fan of everyone's favorite thief, so she will instead be placed into the C tier. Miss Mowz is a really cool character, but I'm not a huge fan of her as a partner. Players are introduced to her several times throughout the adventure before you can recruit her as an optional partner, but I actually find those moments to be the most interesting parts about her. I love how whenever they meet, she kinda teases Mario a little bit. I love her thief personality with a veil of innocence. I think that's really cool. It's just when she becomes a partner, I don't think her abilities are up to snuff. In battle, I find her to be the weakest of any partner you get in the 1,000-Year Door. I almost never use her for battle. To me, she becomes a character that's so one-dimensional because I only use her when an enemy has a badge that I want to steal. Even then, that scenario is so rare in the late game that I just kinda never use her and forget about her, and she just stays tucked away behind all of the other partners. I think it's neat how her overworld ability helps you find items and goodies. I just don't find it to be nearly as intuitive as Watt in the original Paper Mario. In fairness, she's not finding invisible blocks like Watt was, but her dialogue doesn't really help me pinpoint where those hidden items are, and I find that I just keep talking to her and talking to her and talking to her and hoping I'm getting close. I definitely think that Miss Mowz could have used a little bit more both on her overworld ability for finding treasure and in battle, but hey, she's optional, she has some really cool moments before that. She is definitely one of my likable friends in the C tier. That's my tier list for all of the partners found in Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door, and I gotta say, looking at it now, there are definitely some characters that I really like. I think it's interesting how I didn't put anyone in A tier, and that's not necessarily me being negative on any partner. It's just because I think Yoshi, Vivian, and Bobbery are that much better than the rest of the crew. I suppose I could nudge Koops up to A tier if I really wanted every tier to have someone in it, but nope, I'm gonna stick with my ratings. I'm gonna keep the 3 in S tier and everybody else B tier or lower. Yoshi will always be my favorite with Vivian and Bobbery close behind, and Flurrie will unfortunately always be my least favorite. Make sure you guys check out the tier maker link in the video description so you guys can make your own tier list for all of the partners in the 1,000-Year Door, and don't forget to post your results in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with mine, and how you would rank all of the partners that you can get in Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door. Thank you so much for watching one of my videos. It really means a lot to me that you're here. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel so we can help the Super Squad grow. I like to make content on game design and Nintendo topics, but I do other stuff too, like tier lists, personal stories, and joy charts. I'm on some social media platforms if you'd like to get to know me better, and the links to them will be in the video description. My name is Super, and like me, I hope you'll have the chance to be super today too.